Hey YouTube, how's it going? I was very pleased with the news this morning. I found quite a few articles to talk about, so it's going to be a good Thursday, I've decided. First off and foremost, I'm jealous of anyone in the San Diego area this weekend. Comic-Con is in its 41st year there this year, and it sounds like it's a lot of fun. It sounds like they're expecting to draw a good 120,000 people. It's a lot of nerds. To the 4-day event, and by the way, when I say nerd, it's definitely not supposed to be derogatory. I'm very proud to say that I'm a bit of a geek myself, so it sounds like it'll be fun, and people should go if they're in the area because, yeah, good times, free stuff, funny people in costumes. It'll be a good time, I'm sure. Devices like the Kindle or the e-reader, you know, those little electronic books where it isn't really a book with pages, I guess that they've been selling really well, which it makes me really sad. On Amazon, it sounds like they've surpassed the hardcover book sales by 50%. Well, almost 50%. That's a lot of ebooks. The reason this distresses me so much is because I'm an English major. I love, the actual pages of a book. And, I actually want to go into editing, and working with books. I mean, you can still do that on an e-book or, a little Kindle book. But I'm all for libraries with paper copies, not for these little digital books. Blech. In Brazil, approximately 500 little, penguins have washed up on shore dead. Now, they usually get a lot of, penguins coming up because they're migrating, but this year, it looks like a lot of them, they've done a bunch of autopsies, and they all have really empty stomachs, so it looks like they're starving to death. So they're wondering if maybe human activity and overfishing is somehow bringing about the poor flightless birds' untimely deaths. A couple hundred yards away from where Stonehenge is in England, scientists have discovered the base for another Stonehenge-like monument. What I don't understand about this is, was it, buried really deep or something? Or did they just not walk a couple hundred yards away? It doesn't really say all that explicitly, that's what I'm assuming, but we've known about Stonehenge for a long time, and they're just now discovering things a couple hundred yards to the side? That seems a bit lazy to me. But then again, they're probably just being very careful and trying not to destroy anything. I know very little about, digging stuff up, so I'm no expert and probably shouldn't be passing too much of an opinion on it. In New Zealand, a recently recovered crate of Scotch whiskey that's over 100 years old is being thawed out. They found it in the Antarctic. It was left there from a previous mission and to go across the Antarctic, and they recently brought it up and are thawing it. The whiskey was left there in 1908 by Sir Ernest Shackleton, and though they're thawing it, they aren't thawing it to drink. They are thawing it so that the people who made the whiskey, this certain company, that they can see what made it all that great, and then they can try to reproduce it because they don't make it anymore, I guess. I know wine gets older or better with age, but what's wrong with old whiskey? If it's been kept frozen, shouldn't it still be really tasty? I don't know. China's facing its largest oil spill by volume ever. Really, people? More oil spills? Ah! Sorry. But really, even if it isn't as big as BP's latest fiasco, by the way, their cap is still leaking, then, it's still our poor oceans. They've lost 400,000 gallons. That's how much they spilled, and that's in comparison, mind you, with the 94 to 184 million gallons that BP lost, which is a very big difference. And there's even a huge difference between, 94 and 184,000 million, sorry. But it's a wonder we have any oil left with all the people are dumb. And finally, in the Congo, it seems like children recently are facing accusations of witchcraft. It's believed that if something bad has happened in some places, it's a very recent start, but in some places they believe that if something bad happens to one of the family members, or even if just someone's jealous of someone else, that the children are being witches and possessed by a witch or something like that. And while this used to prey on, like, old women, like the stereotype, long nose, hunchback witch, now they're saying it's children because, they're innocent and have trouble defending themselves, and it's really sad. I didn't promise it would be an enlightening week or an uplifting week, but there was a lot in the news this week. My name is Keps, and I approve this message.
Prison walls still standing tall. Some things never change at all. Keep on building prisons, gonna fill them all. Keep on building bombs, gonna drop them all.